The first time I saw him, he was shirtless, sweat clinging to his skin, muscles taut under the strain of the pull-up bar, a smirk tugging at the corner of his lips when he noticed I was staring. That smirk ruined me. Didn't know Claire was into gym boys, he teased, hopping down with the effortless grace of a man who knew exactly what he looked like. I should have walked away. I should have laughed it off and gone back to my treadmill, to the dull routine of burning calories and avoiding temptation. But instead, I stayed. I let him walk up to me. His scent all masculine spice and sweat, his voice dipped in confidence as he introduced himself. "Name's Damon," he said, reaching out a hand. "Ethan's oldest friend. You must be the lucky wife." I hated that word, wife, in that moment. It made me feel boxed in, like I belonged to someone, like I wasn't supposed to be thinking about how good his abs looked or the way his fingers brushed mine longer than necessary.
"I'm Claire," he replied, forcing a smile.
"Nice to meet you."
"Pleasure is mine."
Really? His eyes didn't just undress me, they ravished. And I let them. It started small. After that day at the gym, he began showing up more often.
Group workouts.
Group brunches. Weekend hikes. Always with Ethan, always with other friends, but somehow, Damon always ended up next to me. Sitting too close. Whispering something just loud enough for only me to hear. Watching me. Like he knew something about me I didn't yet understand. One night, after drinks with the group, he followed me into the hallway outside the bar's restroom. The music throbbed through the walls. Bass syncing with the pulse in my neck. "You know, I've been trying to be good," he said, voice low. "Trying not to think about how your lips would taste if they're as soft as they look." I swallowed hard. My body betrayed me. Goosebumps rose on my arms, my thighs pressed tight. "You shouldn't say things like that," I whispered. "I know," he breathed. "But I will anyway." He didn't touch me that night. Just leaned in, lips brushing my ear, promising sin. I went home to Ethan, let him make love to me like a husband does, safe, tender, expected. And all the while, I imagined Damon's hands bruising my hips, imagined his tongue trailing lower, imagined him commanding, not asking. It broke me. The first time it happened, it was at a hotel pool party. We'd all booked rooms, planning to crash after a long night of drinks and swimming. Ethan passed out early, too much whiskey, and Damon caught my eyes from across the lounge. "Walk with me," he said. I shouldn't have, but I did. We ended up in the private spa room, the whirlpool humming low, steam clouding the glass. He shut the door, locked it. "Are you scared?" he asked.
"No. Primelit."
"You should be." He pulled me close. His kiss was fire. Desperate. He gripped my waist, pushed me back against the wall, his thigh parting mine. My hands clawed at his shirt, needing skin, needing friction, needing anything that wasn't the quiet guilt clawing at the back of my mind. "Tell me to stop," he growled against my neck. I couldn't. I wanted more. His hand slid up my thigh, fingers tracing the edge of my panties before sliding beneath them. I gasped when he found me, wet, ready, aching. He chuckled darkly. "You're already mine," he said. He dropped to his knees, tugged my underwear down with his teeth, and then,
God,
his mouth. I bit my lip hard, trying not to scream as he devoured me. Tongue circling, teasing, plunging in and out while his hands held my legs apart like I might try to escape. I didn't. I wanted every filthy second of it. "Damon," I moaned, fingers tangled in his hair. When I came, I did it against his mouth, shivering, bucking, panting like I'd run a marathon. He stood, wiped his mouth with the back of his hand, eyes heavy with lust. "Now you'll never forget how I taste," he said, pressing his lips to mine, letting me taste myself on his tongue.
It was raw.
Animalistic. No rules, no roles, just desire. I spent the night in my room with Ethan, heart pounding, sheets cold despite his arm draped over me. I couldn't sleep. Couldn't stop thinking about Damon's hands, Damon's tongue, the things he made me feel. And I didn't stop. Not that week, not the next. We found excuses. Workouts at odd hours. Brunches that turned into stolen hours at his apartment. Elevator rides where his hand slid up my skirt. Bathroom stalls where he bent me over the counter. One hand over my mouth as he drove into me, deep and rough and perfect. Each time, it felt like we were playing with fire, and each time, I prayed I wouldn't get burned. I told myself I could handle it, that Ethan would never know. Damon and I were careful.
No texts.
No photos. Just stolen moments and silent promises. But I didn't know. I didn't know someone was watching. I didn't know this was never just an affair. It was a trap. And I'd already walked straight into it. It was supposed to be just one time. A single, reckless mistake sealed in silence and sweat. But Damon had this way of looking at me, like he saw every hidden hunger I didn't even know I had. And I kept answering his call. The second time was in Ethan's own car. We were driving back from a lake house getaway, Damon in the front seat, Ethan asleep in the back. I should have kept my eyes on the road, hands at 10 and 2, breathing steady. But Damon slid his hand across the center console and rested it on my thigh, fingers drumming a rhythm that made my breath hitch. "You miss me?" he murmured without turning his head. I glanced in the rearview mirror. Ethan was out cold, mouth parted, soft snores escaping. I wanted to be disgusted with myself. Instead, I spread my legs just slightly so Damon's fingers could slip higher. He didn't need more than that. He unbuttoned my shorts with practiced ease, his fingers slipping inside my panties, finding my slickness like it was his by right. I bit my bottom lip until I tasted blood. "Keep your eyes on the road," he whispered, voice thick with amusement.
And I did.
While he fingered me with slow, deliberate strokes, 2 fingers curling deep, thumbs circling until I was trembling, trying not to crash the car or cry out my release. I came with my husband snoring in the back seat. Damon wiped his fingers on my thigh like I was a napkin, then sucked them clean with a satisfied hum. God, I love when you're reckless. When we got home, Ethan kissed me goodnight like nothing had happened. He didn't notice the red flush on my cheeks, the way my legs shook slightly, the dazed look in my eyes. Or maybe he did, and he didn't care. That's when the guilt started. Not just the kind you feel in passing, but the heavy, choking kind that seeps into your dreams and turns them into something ugly. I tried to stop, avoided the gym, skipped brunches,
Turned off my phone.
but Damon knew how to get to me. One evening, I found a key in my purse. No note, just a hotel keycard with a room number scrawled in pen. I knew it was him. I told myself I wouldn't go. Told myself it was a trap. But when Ethan left for a late meeting, I put on lipstick, a tight black dress, and walked straight into the fire. Room 804. He opened the door shirtless, eyes raking over me like I was dessert. "I knew you'd come," he said, voice low and dangerous. I didn't answer. I just kissed him, hard. We didn't make it to the bed. He pinned me against the wall, yanked my dress up, slid my panties down. "You're dripping," he growled, pushing inside me in one deep, brutal thrust. I gasped, nails digging into his back as he fucked me like a man possessed. Every thrust was punishment. Every moan a confession. "You wanted this," he said between clenched teeth. "Don't pretend you didn't." "I didn't," I whimpered. "Liar." He flipped me around, bent me over the narrow hallway table, and pounded into me until I was crying out, legs trembling, throat raw from trying to stay quiet. When it was over, he didn't say much. Just pulled me onto the bed beside him, let me rest my head on his chest, fingers idly stroking my hair.
"We're not done," he said.
Not even close. But I was unraveling. Every time I came back to Ethan's arms, I felt like an imposter. His touch became foreign. His kindness felt like a spotlight, shining on all the things I was trying to hide. And then, just like that, the illusion shattered. It happened 2 weeks later. I came home from work, dropped my keys in the bowl by the door, and found Ethan waiting for me at the kitchen table. He looked calm.
Too calm.
"Hey," I said, forcing a smile. "You're home early." "Yeah," he replied. "Thought we could watch something tonight."
Sure.
"Let me just change real quick."
Claire.
His voice stopped me cold. He reached into his pocket and pulled out his phone. I want you to watch this. He tapped the screen. I stepped closer, already trembling. And there it was. The hotel hallway.
Me.
Damon. My dress hiked up, mouth open, legs spread, hands clutching at his back. The sound was on. My voice. My moans. My betrayal. I stumbled back like I'd been slapped. What is this? He looked me in the eye, still calm. I've known for a while, he said. Since the gym. Since that first brunch. I had my suspicions. Damon helped confirm them. I shook my head, not understanding. Damon? He smiled. Not kindly. Damon isn't just my friend, Claire. He's someone I hired. The floor dropped from under me.
What?
I wanted to know if you were the person I thought you were. If love really meant something to you. If you'd keep your vows when temptation looked you in the eye. My knees gave out. I dropped into the chair across from him, throat dry, heart shattering. You set me up? I gave you a choice, he said. You made it. I opened my mouth, but no words came out. My mind was spinning, stomach churning. He turned the phone off and set it down. I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet, he said calmly. But know this, whatever happens next, you earned it. Then he stood, walked past me like I was nothing, and left the room. And I just sat there, watching the black screen, seeing myself, over and over, being destroyed by the man I thought I was destroying. I didn't sleep that night. I lay in our bed, his bed, wrapped in sheets that suddenly felt foreign, like they belonged to strangers. My body still smelled faintly of Damon's cologne, and it made me sick. I scrubbed at my skin in the shower until it turned raw, like I could wash the guilt away if I peeled off enough layers. But guilt wasn't the worst part. It was the humiliation. I'd been so sure I was the one holding the strings, sneaking around behind my husband's back. All the while, Ethan had been watching, recording, planning. And Damon was never mine. He'd played his role so well I'd believed every filthy word that left his mouth. Every heated glance. Every stolen touch. I didn't know what was real anymore. The next morning, Ethan was gone. No note. No message. Just a half-empty closet and silence, so loud it made my ears ring. I wandered the apartment like a ghost, touching things that once held meaning. Our wedding photo, the coffee mug with the chip in the handle, the wine stain on the rug from our first anniversary. Everything looked the same, but nothing was. I texted him, "Claire, please come home. We need to talk." No response. I tried again. "Claire, I made a mistake. A horrible one. But I love you. I always have." Still nothing. I called Damon next. I didn't even know what I expected. Comfort, clarity, and explanation. He picked up on the second ring. "Claire." His voice sounded different. Cold. Professional. Was any of it real? I asked quietly. A pause. "You tell me." I sat down on the edge of the couch, my whole body trembling. "You said you wanted me. That you couldn't stop thinking about me. I was playing a part. You kissed me like you meant it. That was part of it too. So what? You never felt anything?" His silence was answer enough. "You're a good liar," I whispered. "It wasn't personal," he said. "I didn't know you. I was just doing my job." "Your job was to fuck me? To tempt you? Ethan wanted to see what you'd do when everything you claimed to have was tested." I let out a hollow laugh. "Well, now he knows." He said nothing. I ended the call. Days passed. Ethan didn't come home. I went to work like a shell of myself, wearing long sleeves to hide the weight loss, sunglasses to cover red eyes. My coworkers noticed, but no one asked. I think they could sense that whatever was broken in me went beyond repair. Then one night, a knock at the door. My heart leapt. I opened it, breath caught, only to find Damon standing there, hands in his pockets, looking less like the seductive devil he'd been and more like someone carrying a weight of his own. "I shouldn't be here," he said. "Then why are you?" "I needed to see you." He walked in without being invited, his eyes scanning the room like he was seeing it for the first time. He sat down on the couch. I stood across from him, arms crossed. What do you want, Damon? I wasn't supposed to sleep with you. I blinked. What? I was supposed to flirt, get close, make you wonder. But the sex? That wasn't part of the original deal. I stared at him, heart pounding. Then why did you do it? He looked up at me, jaw tight. Because I wanted to. For a second, the room felt like it shifted. You said it wasn't personal. It wasn't until it was. I didn't know whether to slap him or cry. You ruined me.
No.
You were already unraveling.
I just gave you the match.
I walked toward him slowly. So what now? You want forgiveness? Closure? He shook his head. I want to tell you that Ethan didn't do this out of spite. He did it because he wanted the truth. He loved you, Claire. Still does. But he couldn't live with a lie. And what about you? He looked down. I don't love you. But I think part of me regrets what we did. That hurt more than I expected. I stepped back. Get out. He stood, nodded once, and left. As the door clicked shut behind him, I sank to the floor. The silence swallowed me whole. Later that week, I received a manila envelope in the mail. Inside was divorce paperwork already filled out. Ethan's signature was neat, steady, like his hand hadn't even trembled. There was a note attached. Claire, I meant every word I ever said to you, but you showed me who you were. I only wish I hadn't needed Damon to see it. I stared at the letter for what felt like hours. Then I signed the papers. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat there, feeling the weight of my choices settle into my bones. Because the truth wasn't that I'd lost Ethan. The truth was I never deserved him in the first place. I moved out of our apartment the following week. Or maybe I should say his apartment, because after the papers were signed, it no longer felt like anything belonged to me. I packed quietly, like if I made too much noise. The walls would come alive and scream at me. Every corner of that place held a memory. Our first night on the floor with pizza boxes and wine, his laughter echoing through the kitchen. The way he used to kiss my shoulder when I stood at the sink. All of it tainted. I didn't take much. Just the essentials. I left the wedding album. I didn't deserve to carry that with me. I found a small one-bedroom place near the edge of the city, with thin walls and a view of nothing. It smelled like old paint and loneliness. I didn't even bother furnishing it properly. A mattress on the floor, a folding table, a few dishes. It felt fitting. Like purgatory. The nights were the worst. I'd lie there in the dark, naked under the thin sheet. Still aching with a need I hated myself for. My mind kept replaying Damon, his hands, his mouth, the way he looked at me when he pushed me against that hotel wall. I hated that part of me missed it. That my body still craved him, even as my soul recoiled. It was like being haunted by my own weakness. A month passed, maybe more. I lost track. The days bled into each other, gray and meaningless. I didn't talk to friends. I avoided everyone who knew the us version of me and Ethan. I started working more, extra shifts, late hours. It was easier to lose myself in spreadsheets than to face my reflection. Then one afternoon I saw Ethan. It was pure accident. He was walking down the other side of the street, dressed in a dark gray coat, looking effortlessly perfect. He was smiling, laughing at something a woman next to him had said. A woman.
Tall.
Elegant. Brunette. Her hand brushed his arm like it belonged there. Something twisted inside me, something sharp and bitter. I ducked behind a storefront before he could see me. My chest felt tight, my breath shallow. Was he happier now? Freer? Had I really meant so little? That night I drank. I hadn't touched alcohol in weeks, but I needed to feel something that wasn't shame. The bottle of red went fast. Then another. My phone buzzed at midnight. Damon, you still awake? I stared at the screen, fingers hovering. Then I answered. Yes. He replied instantly. Come over. I didn't hesitate. 10 minutes later, I was in a cab, heart pounding, thighs pressed together. I hated myself for this, and yet I couldn't stop. It was like part of me wanted to be ruined further, like some twisted punishment I craved. Damon's apartment was upscale, slick, the kind of place men brought women they didn't intend to keep. He opened the door shirtless, jeans slung low on his hips. His eyes raked over me slowly, like he could see the decay underneath my skin. "You look like hell," he said. I walked past him without a word. He followed me into the living room. "Drink. I'm already drunk."
He smirked.
"Even better." I turned to face him. "Why did you call me?" "I could ask you the same thing." "I didn't call." "But you came." I swallowed hard. "I needed, I don't know, something." His eyes darkened. "You want to forget again?" I nodded. He stepped closer, hands sliding around my waist. "You know I'm bad for you." "I don't care." He kissed me then, rough, hungry, like the first time in that gym shower, when everything blurred into steam and heat and reckless desire. Clothes came off in a trail from the living room to the bedroom. He pinned me to the wall, mouth trailing down my neck, teeth grazing my collarbone. "Say it," he growled against my skin. "Say what?" "That you missed me." I hated him. I hated how he made me feel.
But I said it anyway.
"I missed you." He pushed inside me without warning, and I gasped, more from the sudden, dizzying rush than the pain. "Louder," he demanded. "I missed you, Damon." He thrust harder, punishing, relentless. I clawed at his back, pulled his mouth to mine, let him erase me again. The sex wasn't tender. It wasn't romantic. It was savage. A battle. A surrender. Afterward, I lay there, staring at the ceiling. My body was shaking, sated, used. He lit a cigarette and passed it to me without asking. "You gonna cry again?" he asked, eyes on the smoke curling between us.
"No."
"Good. Because I don't do tears." I figured. He turned his head, looked at me. "You're not the same girl I met in that gym." "Neither are you." He laughed once. I was never pretending to be a good guy. I turned on my side, watching him. "Did you ever think about what we did? What we ruined?" "You ruined it," he said flatly. "I was just the bait." "You liked being the bait." He shrugged. "Doesn't mean I didn't know what it cost." I reached out, touched his chest, his heartbeat strong, steady. "Do you ever think about him, Ethan?" "Every fucking day." He looked at me then, and for the first time I saw something real. Regret. Not for what we did, but for the fact that we couldn't undo it. "You still love him?" he asked. I didn't answer. Because I didn't know. I didn't see Damon again for weeks after that night. Not because I didn't want to, but because I needed to figure out who I was without the burn of his hands on my skin or the weight of Ethan's betrayal in my chest. I needed silence, distance, some pathetic attempt to piece together whatever fragments of self-respect I had left. I tried therapy. Once. I lasted 20 minutes. When the woman asked, "Do you think you truly loved your husband?" I stared at her, tears brimming, and left without a word. How do you explain loving someone and still betraying them? How do you confess that the worst part wasn't the guilt, but the thrill? It was a Wednesday when Ethan texted me. "Lunch. Tomorrow. 1 p.m. Same place as before."
No emotion. No punctuación.
Just a command. I stared at the message for a full minute. Then I replied, "Okay." I don't know what I expected when I arrived at the quiet restaurant we used to frequent, tucked into a leafy corner of the city, with white linen and glasses that caught the sun just right. He was already there, looking infuriatingly composed in a crisp navy shirt and tailored pants. Still perfect. Still out of reach. He didn't stand when I approached. Didn't offer a smile. Just watched me sit. "I wasn't sure you'd come," he said. I wasn't sure either. He nodded slowly, eyes scanning my face. "You look different. Older."
No.
Just less fake." I flinched, but said nothing. A waiter came and took our orders. Silence lingered between us like smoke. When he finally spoke again, it was low and even. "You ever wonder how long I knew?" I swallowed.
Yes.
From the second time you met him. My breath hitched. That's soon. I saw the way you looked at him. It wasn't love. It was hunger. I stared at my lap. Why didn't you stop it? He leaned forward, elbows on the table, voice steady. Because I had to know how far you'd go. Whether what we had meant anything when temptation showed up, wearing cologne, and a gym membership. That's cruel. I whispered. No, he said. What you did was cruel. I bit my lip. I didn't mean to fall. Then maybe you should have worn a damn parachute. We sat in silence after that. The air between us thick with all the things we weren't saying. Then he asked, do you still see him? I shook my head. Not since that night. Did you love him?
No.
Did you love me? I looked at him then, really looked. The man I promised forever to. The man I hurt more than I could ever repair. Yes, I whispered. But I don't think I loved you in the right way. He nodded, as if that confirmed something he'd already known. He took a sip of water, then looked at me again, eyes colder now. I'm getting married, he said. It was a knife through the ribs. I blinked. You are? Her name's Lila. We've known each other for years. She was there when everything fell apart. I opened my mouth to say something, congratulations, maybe, or how fast, but nothing came out. He reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a small velvet box.
Pushed it toward me.
I stared. What's this? Your ring. I figured you'd want it back. I didn't touch it. I don't. He nodded. I didn't think you would. Another pause. Then he stood. I'm not doing this to hurt you, Elle. I just thought you should know. So you can finally stop holding on. I stood too, legs trembling. I was never holding on, I said quietly. I was drowning. His expression didn't change.
Well.
Now you can breathe. And with that, he walked out of my life for the last time. I didn't cry until I got home. And when I did, it wasn't loud or dramatic. Just soft, aching sobs into a pillow that no longer smelled like anyone but me. A week passed. Then another. And then, Damon came back. It was a Thursday night late. A knock at my door 3 times, sharp and impatient. I opened it to find him leaning against the frame, leather jacket, cigarette in hand. Figured you'd still be up, he said. What do you want? He stepped inside, uninvited, eyes scanning the bare apartment. Christ, this place is depressing. I like it that way. Of course you do, he muttered, then turned to face me. I'm leaving town, he said. LA got a job out there. I crossed my arms. So? Why tell me? Because for all the bullshit between us, I didn't lie about one thing. I frowned. What? He stepped closer.
You.
I wanted you. Not just because Ethan asked me to. Not just to ruin you. I swallowed. And what do you want now? He shrugged. Closure. Or maybe one last memory. I stared at him. At the man who helped unravel everything I thought I was. And then I did the stupidest thing I could have done. I kissed him. One last time. His mouth was familiar and wild, his hands urgent, like he needed to claim me before he vanished for good. We didn't make love. We didn't even have sex in the traditional sense. We tore each other apart, gasping and clawing, falling into the mattress like animals. After, he didn't stay. He pulled on his jeans, lit a cigarette, and stood by the window. This was a hell of a story, he said. Yeah, I replied, lying naked beneath the sheets. Just not the ending I wanted. He looked back at me, something unreadable in his eyes. Maybe not, but it's the one you wrote. And then he left.
No goodbye. No promises.
Just smoke, and the echo of the door closing behind him. I haven't seen either of them since. But sometimes, late at night, I still feel their fingerprints. Not on my skin, but somewhere deeper. In the part of me that remembers what it's like to be wanted and destroyed.